It's time for the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. Stay tuned as we discuss what's happening in the world of local and national sports in Southeast Missouri and beyond. And welcome to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
And wearing his Super Bowl 34 Rams ring as a means of foreshadowing is Kyle Roberts.
And we have got a very full show today. We are going to be joined in a little bit by Three Rivers College women's basketball coach Alex Wiggs as he talks about the upcoming Lady Raiders basketball season that tips off on Halloween this year. We are also going to be joined by Brian Rosener, the president of the Poplar Sports Hall of Fame, and he's got some things to say about the upcoming class of 2026. That ceremony is going to be on September 17th, and I think that at least one of us from the Sports Desk is going to be there. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about the slumping St. Louis Cardinals. And the reason the St. Louis Cardinals are slumping is because of their dog-awful bullpen. And Mark and Kyle, I know you've got a few thoughts on that. Mark, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I don't consider that they're slumping. I think this is just the regression to the mean that we should have expected all along. From a team that is this young and a team that is still in development. What we have seen in terms of their performance so far this season is the emergence of should-be Rookie of the Year J.J. Weatherholt, should be in the MVP conversation Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, Alex Burleson, these young stars that they're bringing up. But this is just the first wave. This is the preview. If a World Series championship is Avengers Endgame, then what the Cardinals are this season is Iron Man 1. Okay,
Good analogy.
Good metaphor, especially with the Doomsday teaser coming out earlier this week.
Yeah, that's right. They don't have a championship pitching staff. They only have two good arms in the bullpen. Chaim Bloom knows this, and he doesn't care. I mean, if you read between the lines, if you listen to, there's a certain way that sports executives speak, and I would compare that to the way a professional poker player expresses emotions around the table, which is that they don't show anything. A good sports exec is not going to tell you what's on his mind. You have to listen to the double talk and the cliches and interpret from that. And I think what everyone has interpreted from Bloom's comments in the past couple of weeks is that they are not going to do anything, or at least they're not planning to do anything at the trade deadline. Now, if somebody comes and knocks their socks off, for a great offer for one of their terrible pitchers, if somebody is actually delusional enough to, we can fix Matthew Liberatore. That's a left-handed arm that we could use.
Good luck.
I mean, the only one that I would keep out of the bullpen is O'Brien. I mean, he's a quality closer, but he can't. He can't come out and throw 40 pitches every night. His arm is going to fall off of his shoulder if you keep doing that. So they're not looking to bolster their pitching staff for a run at a wild card. Even if they did manage to sneak into a wild card, and even if they win the first series as a wild card, when they go up against one of the big boys, they're going to lose that series. And frankly, I just want Bloom to do what he has said in public on the record that he's going to do, is that they have a plan. The plan is very specific, and they're going to stick to the plan. Now, the plan has already exceeded expectations this season. So as far as I'm concerned, everything else is just house money. I just want them to finish with a winning record, even if it's just one game above 500. That's all I'm looking for, is a winning record. My sights are not set on the playoffs, regardless of whether the stats say they are competitive or not, because the stats don't really say that they're competitive. Yes, they're a game and a half out of that third spot. They've fallen down to just 2 games above 500. They've lost 6 out of their last 10 games, and their run differential is back to a -4. Now, any team that makes the playoffs with a negative run differential is going to lose their first playoff series. So let's all just calm down, enjoy the kids while we can, and wait and see what Bloom does. Mike's really pessimistic about the impending labor stoppage. He thinks we're going to lose the next 2 years of baseball. I think that's
good freaking Lord.
I think that's highly unlikely.
I hope I'm wrong. This is one thing I really hope I'm wrong about, but I would not be one bit surprised if we lose at least next season. And I like I said, I hope I'm wrong. This is one thing that I absolutely hope I'm wrong on, because if this happens, everybody loses. But you know what? I would not be one bit surprised, because I think both sides have got their heels dug in pretty hard. I think it will eventually break, because, eventually they're going to get tired of losing money. But how long that's going to take, I don't know. And you know what? I'm glad that if I am right about it, that we still have football, basketball, hockey, college sports, college baseball, and yes, minor league baseball, and the Savannah Bananas.
Well, that's the thing. It's like so many people were disgusted with Major League Baseball the last time they lost an entire season, that it took the summer of SWAT. It took McGuire and Sosa, obliterating the single season home run record to bring fans back to the ballparks. And there's nothing like that waiting in the wings if they lose an entire season, much less 2. I would say if you lose 2 seasons, you can just dissolve the league and start over from scratch, because nobody's going to care at that point. Having said that, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you. Back to the Cardinals for a little bit, and this is more of a dig at fans. This baseball is a marathon. Chill the hell out. Except never in my life. I have been watching baseball since I was 6. I am 38. I look 18, but I'm 38, soon to be 39 next month. This is the first time the Cardinals have had a intentional youth movement in my life. Enjoy these kids. Watch them grow through their ups and their downs. They're are they barely above 500? Sure. They're fun, though. This is a fun ball club. There's an excitement. There's a new energy. The first time in my life, the Cardinals have swag to them. They don't feel like the old man baseball team. They're staying the right way. This team is fun. And also, shout out to Jordan Walker for saying something I've waited for years for somebody to say. I want more young black kids playing baseball.
There you go.
That meant a lot to me as a guy who grew up watching Ray Langford and Brian Jordan and Ron Gant. We had an all-black outfield when I was a kid, and I thought that was cool. I wasn't thinking about it as, just because it's all black, but these are guys that look like me that I can go watch, and they're good.
You know what? I've been waiting weeks to say this because I've been talking with some friends off the air about the way that football works, but especially with baseball. If we want to get more young black players in baseball, then we need youth leagues that are free to parents and children to play in, and that is considerably supported by a city parks department and local sponsors. If baseball continues to rely on a development model that is only based on private travel teams where the families have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars each season for private coaching and private traveling teams, then we're going to continue to see the same dearth of talent from the cities that we've seen over the past 30 years.
And also, you see a lot of the best talent. And living in Poplar, Bluff, for example, and I'll use more of a football reference. A lot of the most athletic kids I went to school with didn't play football because it's not affordable. It wasn't affordable for everybody.
That's absolutely
right. Not in the least. And that comes down to that's why basketball is always been a predominantly black game. And not saying because. Listen, we all didn't grow up, not having a whole lot, but a lot of us did. But you know what you could do? If you had a basketball, all you had to do is go find a hoop. There's a hoop somewhere in the neighborhood, or there's a nearby park. It's not as accessible with baseball where you got to have good equipment. You know how I used to play in practice? I would go to my yard and I would grab the thickest stick I could find, and I would toss up rock. I was soft tossed rocks to myself and pretend that was my bat and ball.
Yeah, you have to develop athletes from all over whatever your community is, whether it's a city or a county or everything. You have to uncover those athletes, and then you have to develop them in the game. And if the price of admission is, well, these are the fees, and you have to ask the parents to pay the fees, then you're going to be missing out on a lot of really top flight athletes that way. That is something that has to change. This whole private enterprise model, and you could say this in a lot of areas of life, but we're talking about sports. This whole private enterprise is the answer to everything is clearly not the answer to everything. If we as communities want to have winning teams, then we have to invest as a community in developing the top athletes from our population base.
That made me really happy to hear Jordan Walker say that. And yes, back to the team, the bullpen is awful. We knew that we were going to struggle with pitching this year and be grateful for good pitching where we're getting it. Obviously, Mike McGreevy's had despite his win-loss record, he's had a very good year in terms of his, contributions. He's got an ERA of 3. He's got a WAR of 3 flat. Palante's is the leader with 10 wins, and he's been about average. Leahy's been solid. Riley O'Brien out of the bullpen. George Soriano out of the bullpen's been fine, but we don't hold leads well.
No.
And honestly, do you want to see this team make the playoffs?
No. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It sucks to lose games late. It sucks to take a lead and then see that lead, disappear in one inning, which has been the pattern so far in the second half. But I just try to remind myself, this pitching staff is composed of a bunch of placeholders. The pitching staff that's going to take us deep into the postseason is in Single A. And a couple of them are at Springfield, and there might be one or two that've made it all the way to Memphis. But these are kids that are developed. Look at the pitchers that they drafted this year. All of the media baseball heads almost unanimously cited the Cardinals for having the best draft. And the pitchers that they drafted they're all fireballers.
Thank God.
Yeah, and so, what they're going to learn how to do in the minor leagues is how to throw a slider, how to throw a curve, how to throw a changeup for strikes. But, you can't teach an arm that can throw 100 miles an hour, and that's what the Cardinals have coming up the pipeline. Be patient, Redbird Nation. Your patience will be rewarded.
It really will, and the name that I can't wait to see come up is Liam Doyle. We took him high. We took him high last year, and when I saw that we drafted him, and I went and looked up highlights, and I saw this kid hit 103 in college, I'm like, excuse me, yes, please, I'll have a double. Like the Cardinals have been dead last over the last 2 full seasons, plus this year, in strikeouts forced by pitchers.
Yeah, that's
thank goodness that's being addressed.
That's amazing. Well, if you want a distraction from the woes of the Cardinals bullpen, in the upcoming weeks, we're going to be offering you a lot of previews of local high school sports teams, because we've got varsity football that is just starting to ramp up into preseason training
next month.
Yeah, we've got fall softball. The Donovan Donettes are going to try to return to the Final Four for the second time in school history, and they have most of their starters, including their entire starting pitching staff, returning this year for Brad Haygood. As we get deeper into the end of the year, into basketball teams, we have Carson Haygood again in Donovan in her senior year, along with Ellie White and a lot of the returning starters who ended up taking second in the state. So it is going to be fantastic to see Carson and her teammates in their senior year. Remember, this is a group, when they came in as freshmen, they went the entire regular season undefeated. When they were sophomores, they won a state championship. As juniors, they went back to the championship game, fell short to a really good Stafford team. But, I think we're apt to see the absolute best from the Donettes. We've got, who's the freshman of the year from Dexter? Nichols?
Kyle Nichols, yes.
Kyle Nichols going into his sophomore year at Dexter with a basketball team that is sure to compete for a district championship and try to make noise at state. We've got Dexter's football team, which Mike has been taking a look at. We've got Hayti that's coming back for another season. Just a lot of quality teams that are going to be playing regular season ball before we know it. So those are some of the things that you can look forward to in the upcoming weeks as we go through the dog days of summer, where there's not a lot of games being played, but there is a lot of things to look forward to. And one of those things that we are looking forward to is Three Rivers Lady Raiders basketball. Mike, tell us about what's coming up in the next section.
Alex Wiggs will be joining us to talk about his returnees and his new players, and also to talk about some about his schedule. They got a pretty solid squad, and then he's going to be followed by Brian Rosener, who's kind of one of the deans of sports in Butler County. Spent 20 years working at the Daily American Republic. Most of those a sports editor, and also is now the president of the Poplar Bluff Sports Hall of Fame. He's going to be talking about the class of 2026, which includes a legitimate bunch. And then after that, we're going to be talking about the National Football League and maybe even the Dallas Mavericks. That's me and Kyle's favorite NBA team. But we will do that starting when we get back here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
This is Three Rivers men's basketball coach Robert Kirby, and you are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And welcome back to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and joining me in studio is Three Rivers College women's basketball coach Alex Wiggs. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And you have been very busy this off season. You have got several new Lady Raiders coming in to fill some gaps. And, as we're coming off 6 straight trips to the national tournament, actually, I think it's 7 if you don't count the COVID year.
Right.
I think it's safe to say we are not rebuilding. We are reloading, and I'm going to let you tell me about some of our new faces.
Yeah, we graduated, obviously, a big portion of our lineup, but saying that, we have 7 returners with, obviously Samaya Jordan being a freshman All-American. We have her back. We're going to have, Italy Lewis, who finished the season really well. We've got her back. Kimora Wooden, who also finished the season really well. Jordan Blake, and then Amiria Gaston, who both had some injuries throughout the year. And then we have 2 kids that didn't play all year back as well, with Layla Coleman and Kai Wilson, who super excited about those 2. I think Greater Nation's really going to love what those 2 that they didn't get to see this past year, see them back out there on the court and see what they can do. And then, like you mentioned, we reloaded. We have 8 new players. We start off with Drew Jackson, a 5'8" freshman guard from Bald Knob, Arkansas. Drew is really, really good player. She can really shoot the ball. She can spread out the defense. She can do those things. Then we have Daviana Boynton. She's a 5'10" kid from Springfield, Ohio. She's long, she's athletic, she can score at all 3 levels, brings us some size and some athleticism to the table. Then we have Zanaya Johnson. She goes by Chip, 5'7" freshman. She played at Earl this past season down in Arkansas. She's from Searcy. She was on their state championship team.
Nice.
She's going to be a big time guard for us.
And cool bit of trivia, she was a high school classmate of a future Raiders men's basketball player, Teron Hurst.
Yep. They played, went to the same high school down there at Earl. And Zaniah, just a kid that can really guard. Again, a kid that can score at all three levels. Next, we have Mia Nakata. She's from Australia.
Nice.
She's a 5'9" freshman lefty. Again, a kid that can really shoot the ball. A kid that can score at all three levels. Just with her size at that guard position. And then next we have Karasara Yunus, 6'2", sophomore transfer. She was at Barton Community College Barton County Community College this past year. Was behind a kid going to Rutgers, and so didn't get a lot of playing time, but she brings length and athleticism. She runs the floor really, really well, can really attack the basket, and again, at 6'2", her size and athleticism. Then next we have Elvira Yao. She is a 6'1" freshman from Sweden.
Nice.
She is a kid with her size. Like, she's 6'1", she's strong, can really rebound the ball. Again, she's one of those kids with her athleticism. She can actually guard 1 through 5.
Nice.
And bring a lot to the table. Next, we have Elizabeth Johnson, a 6'6" freshman from Atlanta, Georgia.
Not bad.
No, Elizabeth comes from a really good AAU program. High school program, had best season they've ever had. But a 6'6" kid that can help control the paint, can help control those rebounds down there, and is continuing to develop with her skills, with her size and all that stuff. Really excited about Liz being part of the Lady Raiders. And then we have number 25, we have Nyjah Webster, a 6'1" guard, transfer from she's transferring from UT Martin.
Not bad.
She's from Jackson, Tennessee, a kid that, again, can score at all three levels, can guard multiple positions, and can do all those things. And I believe that is all of them. I'm making sure I didn't miss any of the 8. Go ahead.
I think you've got everybody. We've been talking a little bit about your schedule. You are tipping off the season on Halloween with a really nice matchup against Northeastern Oklahoma A&M, and then the next day on the 1st of November on Sunday afternoon, it's another matchup with Wabash Valley that's kind of become a nice little inter-region rivalry.
Yeah, just like last year, we want to play as many of those national tournament teams as we can. We really, really focus on our strength of schedule. This year, the only downfall to the schedule this year is we went from playing region teams 3 times each to this year only 2 times each. And where that's a downfall is because of our success, because of the players we have coming back, it has been pretty difficult to find 4 games to replace those 4 region games that we lost. But like you said, I mean, we're starting out with NEO, Northeastern Oklahoma, who is a national tournament team.
Oh, wow.
Then we have Wabash Valley, next game, who finished runners-up in their league, and we all know their success the last 10 years. And then our next classic the next week, and we have 2 more national tournament teams, Southwestern Illinois and Northwest Mississippi.
Not bad. Wow, 4 national tournament teams to start the season.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we're coming out of the gates, again, playing people and testing our kids. And then, a couple big classics. We're going down to Pensacola this year over Thanksgiving, and we're going to be playing – we're going to be playing Pensacola, Northwest Florida. Down there, don't know the days or times yet.
Speaking of inter-region rivalries, Northwest Florida, that's a team we've been seeing a lot of in the national tournament the last few years. This kind of become our arch nemesis.
Yeah, and we're excited. We're excited to go do that. And then again, we've got going to Northwest Mississippi. We're going to SWIC. Dyersburg State's a team that we're going to them that they have the opportunity to control that kind of Tennessee region with Walter State's coach getting a D1 job and all that. So that region is going to be wide open, and Dyersburg State has a good chance of winning that region. But then we're also right before Christmas, of course, going back down to Shelton State.
Oh, wow.
Not sure who we're playing yet. The last couple of years we've played everybody from Shelton to Kilgore to South Georgia Tech. So just, again, national tournament teams. So we really loaded up our schedule with those types of teams. And then, of course, then we get into region play and, of course, state fairs.
Oh, yeah.
Back-to-back or national tournament teams. Mineral areas, Coach Eber does a great job up there. Then Crowder, who again, Coach Wilson does a great job, and then obviously Moberly.
That's not that far removed from being a national tournament team.
No. I mean, and so like I said, our focus was to continue our strength of schedule, continue doing what we've done, because I do feel like it's helped prepare us for that national tournament and for postseason play. And
then we close the regular season going up to Southwestern Illinois, another national tournament team.
Yeah. We had that Saturday off, and if we didn't play a game there, it would have been maybe 20 days until we play again, and we did not want it to be that long.
Oh, my gosh.
So we added that game there at Southwestern Illinois the last Saturday of the season.
It sounds like it's going to be another heck of a year. Like I said, we've played in every national tournament going all the way back to 2019 because 2020 got canceled. This sounds like it's going to be fun, Coach.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this group. One thing that I'll say is now, we've really added a bunch of size, a bunch of length, athleticism with, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 girls, 6 foot or taller, 8 girls, 9 girls, 5'10" or taller. So it's one of those things that we've added a lot of size, a lot of length to our roster, because I think our guard plays really good, and we just need that size, that length, that athleticism to go with our guard play.
Some teams rebuild, other teams reload, and the Lady Raiders are a team that I think definitely reloads.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of credit to my assistants and just the program and what the community allows us to do.
And that is Three Rivers College women's basketball coach Alex Wiggs here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
This is Three Rivers College women's basketball coach Alex Wiggs, and you are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And welcome back to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and now I am joined by Brian Rosener, the former sports editor of the Daily American Republic and the president of the Poplar Sports Hall of Fame. Brian, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Brian, you guys made a big announcement last week that we want to talk about, on this week's show. You announced the class of 2026 for the Poplar Bluff Sports Hall of Fame. And, we were talking earlier, it's a long list. I'm going to let you tell me about some of these guys.
Yeah, so this year is the 45th anniversary of the Sports Hall of Fame's founding. In fact, it was just the other day, July 20th was the date it was incorporated, and so going back 45 years, this is one of our largest classes. It's tied for the most, but we also added a new kind of wrinkle to the banquet, where we're going to honor some folks who haven't been, they've been honored, but we want to get them a little special recognition because of their work in the community. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, we're going to the class of 2000 induction is going to feature Tyler Hillis, Ken Marler, Maurice Moss, Stacy Nolan, and Harvey Reynolds. And so that's a pretty solid group. But like I said, 5 individuals is our most since 1983. And so yeah, that's a pretty good group. And then on top of that, we started a new award this year. It's called the Sam Gambaluka President Emeritus Award. And basically what we're trying to do is to honor the individuals or groups or companies that for their contributions to sports in the community, whether that be through philanthropy or volunteering or their time, or just their support. And so that's one of the things we kind of saw lacking for us in the hall was we had a lot of contributors who have done a lot of things in this community that just weren't getting those votes to get in. And so we felt like there's only 2 contributors in the Sports Hall of Fame that are just contributors. And that, of course, would be Sam Gambaluka, the founders, and President Emeritus, who was the president for 30 years. And then Dr. R.W. Huntington, which the pool is named after, here in Poplar. So obviously 2 great people that need to be in the Hall of Fame, but there's some others that in this community that deserve some recognition. So hopefully that's what this award will do moving forward. So and it's tough to pick just 1 or 2. So we ended up with 5 that we wanted to start the bat off with, and this year we're gonna honor in alphabetical. These are always in alphabetical order. Dan Kaufman, Dr. Jerry McLean and family, J.P. McLean, Bill Swafford, and Dr. Austin Tinsley. And I don't think you can find. There's probably 5, 10, 20 more that we could add, but we had to start somewhere, and so that was the ones we wanted to honor this year. So yeah, so it's going to be a really a busy night. I'm trying to put together the program on how we're going to be able to get it all together, but yeah, it's going to be really a really fantastic evening. We got a lot of great stories that are going to be told, and hopefully everybody will be able to make it. I talked to Stacy Nolan's probably got and Tyler Hillis, Maurice Moss. Those guys are all out of the area, but they're going to definitely try to make it back. And so it's hard to schedule this far out, but yeah, it should be a fun night for those guys involved. It's always my favorite night of the year.
Good deal. Excuse me. Couple of bits of trivia. Brian, I remember when you got to Poplar Bluff here in 2001, we were on the sports desk at the DAR, so you got to cover Maurice Moss his senior year, playing football, running track. You got to cover Tyler's high school golf career, from beginning to finish. Those are some guys that are familiar to you. What do you remember about them?
So Maurice, that track team in 2001, sorry, was just 2002, sorry, was just outstanding. I mean, they finished second in state. I was going through pictures and remembering that you had Maurice Moss handing it off to Brent Little, who was a state champion in the long jump and triple jump, and that group just kind of was just solid. The record book was just, that group rewrote the record. Maurice, he's being honored because he had the record in the 100, 200, and 400 individual, and also helped set the record in the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 4x4. So, and all those except for the 100 have been broken, and the 400 have tied. And a lot of those that were broken were just this recently. And so I think the success of the track team this year and the fact that his records kind of fell this year kind of maybe got him some of those extra votes that were like, wow, Maurice, it took that long for those records to stand. Is pretty impressive, especially that 100. He would have been probably a state champ he definitely would have been a conference and district champ in the 100 if it wasn't for a pretty fast guy from Jackson, Mario Whitney. So
I remember Mario.
And that district and conference 100 was stacked that year. It was really fun. And I'm a track guy, in high school, so I really enjoy track and field coverage. So coming to town and covering that state championship was a lot of fun. And I still remember a photo that I was looking for Maurice to try to include in our package of a slideshow during the banquet, and I knew the day, the month, and the year it was. I just and exactly where it was, and so hopefully people will enjoy that those things. Now, finding some of those photos, from the Stacey Nolan and Ken Marler, a little area before the digital film, where cameras. It was a little. We're not gonna have as many, obviously. So, but it's good to get those two guys. And Ken Marler's been on the ballot for a long time. His was tough because he and I'm probably getting ahead of myself. Sorry, but yeah, go back to Tyler. Tyler Hillis was an outstanding golfer. He was the first freshman in the history of Misha to earn medalist honors at state, and that's pretty impressive. And then, but the following years, all state 3 times. He was 16th the one year he didn't get all state, and each time the Mules finished 5th or higher, and they finished second at state twice as a golf team. So, and in one of those was by 2 strokes, and we're talking the largest class. So they were up against. They got beat by Chaminade twice, and then Rockhurst, and so you had some the best golf in the state at that time, and the Mules were pretty solid. So yeah, that was a fun group to cover too as well.
Good deal. And looking at our contributors a little bit, a couple of folks that I think that you might have interacted with some. Of course, Dr. Tinsley's been a fixture in high school sports in this area for many years. With his kids playing. I went to high school with his actually his 4 oldest. With Austin, with Tracy, with Tyler. I think 3 oldest, correction. And and also Tara. I forgot that's 4. It's been a long week, guys.
It's hard to keep up with. Yeah.
And if I
me not being from here, it's always like when you get a last name, you're like, well, you're latest. I just stopped asking because it's too confusing. But yeah, there's a lot of Tinsleys and a lot Mosses, and yeah, it's yeah, it can get confusing. But yeah, for like over 30 years, he was giving those free. He kind of started that free physical, which we still do in this town, which is an amazing thing that the athletes get that opportunity because and those are the things that kind of people don't realize what goes into that and how much of an effort that is. And then he was also the team physician for the football team for many years, and not just when it's a lot of times as parents we when our kids are involved in something we get excited, or not excited, but we spend our time and for me as well, I do that. I did that with my son who's a swimmer, and the summer swim program, and when your kids leave, and we kind of don't do that anymore, like I've done with the swim program. But Dr. Tinsley, been there a long time, supporter for Poplar Bluff sports.
Indeed. And a couple of bits of trivia, Dan Kaufman used to be my neighbor for many years, living out north of town. And Dan's daughter, I think, was still playing ball when you first got to town. I think you remember the former Jenny Shivinger.
Yeah, hit that shot. Yeah, of course. That was just before I got here, but he was an AAU coach long before, teaching that group of kids that went up there at Columbia and finished second in state. And so, that contributions, and then obviously his philanthropy and all the things that kind of maybe people might not be aware of. So yeah, he's definitely a good one that was included as well. And then of course, the Dr. McLean family, McLean
Yes.
Park. That was a huge addition to the city of Poplar Bluff. Selling that property at a reduced rate, and not to mention all the things that the support that he did. He's a huge Raider fan, obviously, and Mules fan, and so and JP McLean as well, huge Raider fan. I heard I guys told the story. He got the Citizen of the Year one year, and they almost had to tell him that he was going to get it because the Raiders were playing that out on the road, and he wasn't going to show up for the banquet. So I don't. Yeah, he would have probably he was such a big Raider fan and a fixture for the Raiders, and of course Bill Swafford as well. With the
yes.
club of the Raiders, and of course with Mules as well, and we appreciate all those folks. And so and this is going to be something we're going to do every year now. I don't know if we're going to do 5 a year, but we'll definitely have it included in the program, and we'll get them honored right as the program starts. And yeah, again, just the contributions that people make to make Poplar Bluff sports so special, and don't always get that recognition. There's the Mule Skinner Award for the football team they give out that that does it. But and the Raiders, of course, have put had their Hall of Fame that they're able to honor those folks as well. So we kind of umbrella over the whole community. So it's kind of nice to see, and that's why I was talking about Mr. Marler is been a long time one that because he was born in Poplar Bluff, but he went to Fisk High School. So we have like folks who are not from here but contribute here. They still are eligible, and so Mr. Marler, in the '60s, long before the Sports Hall of Fame started, was just an outstanding baseball player for the Poplar Bluff Legion team. Helped the Senior Legion team win the state title in '64 or '65, he hit .571 that summer.
Oh wow!
He won the region. After they win state, they go to the regional tournament, and I believe it was it Kentucky? But anyway, Poplar got knocked. That's okay. Poplar got knocked out by Detroit team that went on to finish third in the nation. And,
oh wow!
And Marler, out of that little tournament, he was 10 for 17 and was given the most outstanding bat award out of all the players there. So even though the Poplar team didn't move on, he was recognized for that. So and then they didn't even get to play in the finals. So and that's impressive. But and his hitting was pretty good, outstanding. I mean, he hit .330 or better in 4 seasons. Led the team in the lead Legion team in hitting all 4 seasons. And then afterwards, he got signed by the Orioles. Hit .310 in spring training, but didn't make a minor league team. Mike, you're aware of his story, correct?
A little bit, and I tell you what, I gotta wrap things up real quick, but I do want to do 2 things before I go. First of all, when is the ceremony?
Oh yeah, sorry, September 17th. It's always going to be the Thursday before homecoming, and we're at the Holiday Inn. I'm gonna get tickets on sale probably in mid-August. I'll let you know. We'll get another thing out for everybody. We're on Facebook now, so Poplar Bluff Sports Hall of Fame. If folks want to follow and get some information when we do things, we're gonna get some stuff on there about the history of Poplar Bluff sports too. So yeah, but and you can read about each of the individuals, which I know we haven't gotten to. Stacy was an outstanding player.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
So yeah, we could do a whole podcast about each one of these guys, and
I know.
So their stories are so amazing, and like I said, it's always a fun night to see them and their families and have fun and hear some great stories. Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we just got now the hard part is we got to get the pay for the plaques, which we have in the Sports Hall of Fame there at the Poplar Museum, and the ones we give to the honorees, and get everything kind of get going before the banquet gets here, because it's going to be September before you know it.
Oh, I know it is. And guys, that is Brian Rosener here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle, and that's going to be a fun ceremony coming up in September.
This is Tony Webb, and you're listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And welcome back to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and we are going to lead off because me and Kyle have a couple things we want to say about our favorite NBA team, the Dallas Mavericks. And I'll tell you a little bit of a fun story. I've been a Dallas Mavericks fan for over 35 years. I started rooting for the team in 1990, right about the time we headed to the bottom of the league. We spent pretty well the entire 1990s as the dregs of the NBA made a run at having the worst record in league history on a couple of different occasions. Got a couple of wins late in those seasons to make sure that didn't happen, but it was a close call. And then after all these years, the team finally got good about 25 years ago and has had some success since. Won a championship, made it to a couple more finals. So I'm not just one of these bandwagon fans, and I don't think Kyle is either.
Absolutely not.
Excuse me. Didn't you, let's see if memory serves, didn't you guys beat the Heatles? Didn't you guys beat Miami in LeBron's first year?
The first year of the Big Three.
Yeah, of the Big Three we did, and that was Dirk's masterclass in 2011.
Yes. But one thing that's interesting about this crew, is we pulled a trade not too long ago where we now have 3 former overall number one draft picks on our roster. Of course, we have Kyrie Irving, who is coming back from an injury that kept him out last season. But we also
isn't he 47 years old now?
Actually,
no.
No.
He's like 32. Will you be nicer?
He's been in the league forever,
But
and
he came in early.
Yeah, but Kyrie Irving is one of these guys. It's like, guys, we got Kyrie Irving, and then he underachieves and disappoints. I mean,
he missed 30. He missed 32 games in 2025. Yeah, he hasn't played a full. I know he has never played. The most he's played is 72 games in a season. When he's on, we know what he is, but he just ain't been healthy.
Well, when you identify a player like that, they can't be your number one. It's
not at all.
You got to count on him to be on the court. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But here's the good thing: we have a number one because we had the number one pick in 2025 and got Cooper Flagg. So that's 2 overall number one picks, and then we just added the 2024 overall number one pick in Zachary Risseker. And so far, he has underachieved. But you know what? I was looking. He just turned 21 back in April. And, this guy's got time to develop. And now that he's on a different roster, maybe he will. If he does, he's going to be a steal. If he develops, we get Kyrie healthy, we got a chance to do something this year. I would love to see that. And, Kyle, I know you would too. So I'm going to let you go from there.
See, Shea is a guy who was the number one pick in a bad draft, and that's my concern. Is you'll wind up having years where, like right now, like if I look at the best player out of his draft is Donovan Clingan, who plays for the Portland Trail Blazers, and he's worth about 12 win shares. So it's not a strong draft right now, but give it a few years to actually age. And then, then come back and talk to me. But he was the big piece we got in the Lou Dort trade that the Hawks made with Oklahoma City, which the last thing anybody should give the Thunder is more future draft picks. Please stop. Right. Just please stop. But Shea, he's a project. One thing I do look forward to, he will get more opportunities to touch the ball because in Atlanta, they got a lot better than anybody expected really fast. And his points production went down. He started way less games. He started 46 games this past season instead of 73 his rookie season. And the Hawks went on a second half heater and wound up making the playoffs. And they lost in the first round to the Knicks. But this team just got really, really deep, really fast. I mean, Shea was 10th on the team in scoring. He averaged 9 points per game on a team that had 6 guys average at least 15. So he became an afterthought fast, but again, he now has an opportunity with Dallas to possibly be a Robin to Cooper Flagg's Batman. And on another thing I'm excited about, Cooper Flagg had a growth spurt. He is now 6'11".
Wow,
good Lord.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that he grew because you have a big man problem. In the West, everybody in the West has a big man problem, and just the best thing that Dallas could hope for would be conference realignment and get to play in the East, where they would be competitors for a conference championship.
To get away from Wemby.
Yes, to get away from Wemby, to get away from Jokic in Denver, to get away from SGA in OKC.
Like the West is ludicrous right now.
It really is. It's so loaded. It's just the challenge of coming out of the West is just extraordinary. And the fact that, the Knicks should thank their lucky stars that they got to play the Spurs 1 year earlier than the Spurs should have been there.
Yes, because they got there too early.
Yeah, because now you're talking about a team in San Antonio with a years of playoff experience, with a final series experience. Man, they're going to be not just scary but terrifying this season.
I mean, think about it. Think about the fact that the Thunder, who already have Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, two very, very strong defensive bigs, couldn't handle Wemby. So you know what they did? They drafted a 7'3" center.
And you know who San Antonio is? San Antonio are the Green Bay Packers of the NBA. They're the
Good one.
They're in a
a great
small
analogy.
market. It's the only professional franchise in the city, and they they have legendary players, legendary coaches, and they've won a decent share of championships. And they're boring, they're competent, they're high quality, and they're almost always in the mix. And they're the Green Bay Packers of the NBA.
And they're also so well run. Like I was talking to a friend last night about, and I said that's the perfect comparison, because the DNA of Greg Popovich is interwoven in every aspect of that organization, whether he's coaching or formerly was the general manager. He's not active like he was, but you feel Pop everywhere, except in the coaching in the finals, because that 29-point lead that they blew, that would have never happened under him.
No, Pop
stop
never
shooting
would've- no,
threes.
never.
But for the next decade, like in the 80s and or the late 80s to the late 90s, it was teams trying to find Jordan stoppers.
Right.
And then you had how can we deter Shaq in his peak with the Lakers? And you
couldn't.
and then you'd have to get multiple guys to be LeBron stoppers, or more so LeBron containers. Now you got to draft bigs. The league is reverting back to a big man's game, but not the traditional big man, because Wemby's not just your back down, post up, and control the paint center. He can do everything. Now you've got to get multiple guys comparable to his size that can do a little bit of everything. He's horrifying.
Yeah. Can you imagine if somebody introduces Wemby to protein packing and weight training, and he puts on about
dear Lord,
20 pounds of muscle for down in the paint?
and he weighs what? I say probably about 215, maybe 220 right now. Let me take a look.
Yeah, he looks like one of the aliens from Close
No,
Encounters.
he's 235. Imagine if he's 270.
Yeah, unstoppable. Shaq 2.0. Hey,
he's Yao Ming with a 3-point shot.
Oh, there you go.
Good Lord. Well, one of the other things that is coming up next week, and if you are like us, if you are NFL fans, you could not be more excited for this, but training camp starts next week.
The most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So to get us in the mood, we're going to talk about our team's training camps. The obvious question, we want to answer that for each of our three teams. And for those of you who might be new to the show, that's the Vikings, the Titans, and the Rams.
Whoa, hold on. I'm sorry. Breaking news before we continue. 3 minutes ago from Adam Schefter. LeBron James is signing with the Philadelphia 76ers on a 2-year, $8 million deal with a player option. LeBron to Philly
that makes
to
no
play with
sense at all.
Jaylen Brown and Paul George and Joel Embiid. Holy cow.
I don't get it. Hey, we'll have to talk about this next week. We'll have to let that sink in. But
I do apologize, guys. I had to break
no,
that.
I'm
that's
glad
breaking
you
news.
did.
Get that man.
I was really hoping he might. Minnesota was a dark horse for that. I was really hoping that he would sign with the Wolves, but Philly, it's I guess he wants to lose to either Boston or New York for the last couple of years of his career. So go figure. Well, we're going to take a little pause here to get Kyle back on the line.
But while we're doing that, I'm going to talk about my Tennessee Titans, because the big question with us is getting our young guys to develop. That's huge. We need Cam Ward to develop. We need Carnell Tate to develop. We need J.C. Lathan that was drafted, 2 or 3 years back to keep developing. We need our other young guys to develop, because if the young guys develop, we could possibly be a playoff contender. But if they don't, we're going to be among the bottom feeders in the league, just like we've been for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm looking for in Tennessee is your coaching staff. I want to see what your head coach can do with the defense. I really want to see what Brian Dable does in terms of developing Cam Ward. I'm sorry,
Yes.
we're trying to talk and tech at the same time.
Yeah.
Kyle, do we have you?
Yeah, I called.
Okay.
I was like, what the hell?
All right, we're back on track. But yeah, I really want to see what your head coach does with your defensive scheme. I really want to see what Dable does in terms of developing Cam Ward in his second season. I think there's a lot of optimism to be had down in Nashville. I would be thrilled if I were you about the prospects of what their coaching staff is going to be able to do. You've got that last place schedule. The NFC South isn't a doormat anymore, but I don't think it's unreasonable to expect 7 or 8 wins out of Tennessee this season.
That would be nice. And, then there are the Los Angeles Rams, who are a early preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl. Kyle, I know you've got a lot to say about them, so take her away.
Actually, I don't. I'm too busy polishing up my replica Super Bowl 34 ring right now. Sure is pretty. Sure looking to add another one to the collection here. Aside from the breaking news that we just had, which, hey, congrats, LeBron is now a 76er. That's insane. But with us, it comes down to, number one, 99. Mr. Aaron Donald, just come on home. Just come on home. We got a real cushy spot for you on the defensive line. You don't even have to play every down. Just come on home. I've seen pictures of you at our practice facility. It's all good. We got everything you could ever want here. You're 35 years old. You go into the Hall of Fame. Come get you another ring. We'll take care of you. Most importantly, protect the package. Protect number 9 for as long as we got him. I think maybe he's got 1 to 2 years left that he can play at a top level. Because what else is there for him to accomplish? Go get you another ring. Let's win it at home. Puka Nacua, don't be a jackass. Behave. Catch the football, score touchdowns, and go home. That's all I'm asking.
You're asking a lot.
Sir, if I have one position group that gives me a little bit of concern, it is the offensive line in pass blocking, simply because we're not a team that runs RPOs or anything like that. We don't do a lot of quick, a lot of quick pass plays. We are a play action, 5-7 step drop back type of offense. So we have to have the protection to hold. Outside of that, last year, my biggest concern was the secondary. That's been addressed by acquiring Trent McDuffie from Kansas City, which was very, very big. So we've addressed cornerback. I look for more development from our safeties. Cameron Curl is very underrated. Keep an eye out for him. And as long as we stay healthy and Myles Garrett does Myles Garrett things, and if we get a little bonus from the Hall of Famer, the pressure really comes down to we are the heavy favorites. Keep the perspective of day by day, game by game, and don't start thinking about next year at SoFi. Don't focus on that. We're not there yet. Ain't earned that yet. Everyone's saying it, but go do it. That's my only concern, is that this team keeps the proper tunnel vision and locks in, because Seattle won the Super Bowl. You will not convince me they were a better football team than the Los Angeles Rams last year. My eyes don't lie. They caught a break. We were the better team. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, their defense. Their defense got the better of you in the NFC Championship game. I think the Rams would have.
They're better.
Yeah, the Rams would have, in the same way, probably more so than Seattle did. The Rams would have just destroyed New England had they squared off in last year's Super Bowl.
Oh, completely. New England was not better than Denver. They just had Jared Stidham playing. But back to us, just lock in. Everyone stay healthy. Everyone knows what their job is. They know what they bring to the table. We have a very underrated running back room with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. That's a very solid 1-2 punch. We need those guys to do what they do, and we need our guys to do what we do. If I'm looking for anybody to break out on our offense this year, it's Tyler Higbee. Because for whatever reason, the Rams are not a historically strong team when it comes to producing tight ends. Tyler Higbee's very capable, but the tight end's never been a focal point of any Rams offense that I could ever think of.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for him to possibly be a big red zone guy this year, to be a good safety valve for when Devontae and Puka are, getting a little extra coverage, which they're going to see a lot of that this year. But
that's right. You guys got Devontae coming back.
We do.
Yeah, and he needs to stay healthy for at least 14 or 15
and
games.
Again, I want the players to stay focused, but I'm gonna be extra, and I'm willing to bet you lunch that we win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, we've already talked about this off mic before the game, so
I don't
that
see
is
any reason why we don't.
I will take that action on a burger and fries bet, because historically, the preseason Super Bowl favorite has never made it to the Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills, for the past 4 or 5 years, have been the perennial Super Bowl Vegas odds favorite, and they just can't stop tripping over their own ankles in the playoffs. Speaking of playoff failure, the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, their biggest question going into training camp is the quarterback competition. And, there are as many opinions about this quarterback competition as there are brands of breakfast cereal in the grocery store. I'm not going to rehash any of that, just to say that whoever emerges from camp, I want them to be able to run the offense efficiently and effectively. And I don't care who that is. It doesn't matter to me one way or another. I think that whether it's Kyler Murray, whether it's J.J. McCarthy, I think if either one of those players rises to their potential, and maintains that quality of play for the most part, I think it's going to be a good thing. There are 3 other things that I am very interested in seeing play out during training camp. Number 1 are the defensive rookies. On the defensive line, Caleb Banks and Big Citrus, Dominique Orange. We've got Jacoby Thomas, possibly replacing Harrison Smith at safety. We've got Chuck Demings coming in as a quarterback, and then their number 2 pick, Jake Golday, who might turn out to be Andrew Van Ginkel Jr. We'll just have to wait and see. But really,
on the side, Mark, how many defensive tackles do y'all really need?
As many as it takes to get to the quarterback. Because, Flores is ostensibly running a 3-4 defense, but the way he schemes his looks, it doesn't look like anything. It looks like you've got 20 guys running straight at you, and that's what he wants. He wants to create chaos for the opposing quarterback. But, sometimes he could have 5 guys on the line plus 2 more rushing if they're going with full blitz. And remember, Flores is the most prolific blitzing DC out there in the league. So I really want to see. Flores also has a reputation for not being too fond of rookies on his defense, because it's a very high IQ defense. On the other hand, it looked very much like Flores had control of the helm this past spring during the draft with all of the, he took his guys on defense. So I really want to see how these guys fit in the spring. Number 2 is the receiving core. Obviously, we've got Jets, we've got free 3. I want to see what Jawan Jennings does. If he can really make a huge difference in 3 receiver sets. I want to see if Ty Felton has taken the next step to be a rotational wide receiver. And then one of our undrafted free agents, former Georgia wide receiver Dylan Bell, attracted a lot of attention during rookie minicamp and OTAs. And he has a shot to make the 53-man roster. He may be one of those players who was overlooked because the quality of the passing game at Georgia was down last season. They really didn't emphasize much of a passing game, but he has flashed a lot of good talent. So we'll see how the bottom end of the Vikings depth chart on wide receiver plays out. And then the last thing that I'm looking for, I want to see if DeMond Claiborne can break out as a rookie at running back. You know that Aaron Jones, despite his skill, despite his determination, he's on the wrong side of 30, and it won't take long for his body to break down. Can DeMond Claiborne be the breakaway, home run hitting running back that the Vikings have been looking for since they released Dalvin Cook about 5 years ago? So other than QB, those are my three things to watch out for at Vikings training camp, which begins next Wednesday. And to say that I'm excited is a gross understatement.
It is what we've been waiting for. It is, as I've said, it is the most wonderful time of the year. And we're going to be talking a lot of NFL and football in general the next few months coming up. We're getting started with it right now. But we've got another full show planned next week. Excited about that. I've got a couple of ideas who our guests may be, and if they pan out, it's going to be really fun. And on that note, I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
And this is Kyle Roberts.
And you have been listening to The Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.